very closely, and then we respond in real time.
Well, joining us live now is Liberal MP Tim Wilson. Tim, good to see you. Just back on Newspoll just for a moment. People have different views of this. Are you worried about it?
Look, people always draw comments on polls. The reality is, and it's an old truism, but there is only one that matters, and that's on election day. But the key thing is actually that the government gets focused on the issues that are actually affecting Australians. You have people affected by floods in large parts of the country. We do have economic adjustments coming as a result of the end of JobKeeper. And we've got to focus on those tasks because those are the things that actually matter to Australians, no matter what the circumstances in the polls. Yeah,
the government's not getting clear air at the moment, given everything that's going on out of Canberra. Let's talk about Andrew Laming. Are you happy for him to stay in the party until the election?
Well, I think what's appropriate is that he goes off and gets the medical assistance that he said he needs. And of course, there'll be a discussion about that after he's gone through that process. But I frankly don't believe in discussing somebody's career while they're getting health support and assistance that they obviously have self-identified they need, and will address that, I think, when he comes back to make sure that he's in a healthy and stable position as a human.
What medical treatment do you need for being a creep?
Well, I don't know what his personal health circumstances are, and frankly, I feel very uncomfortable talking about other people's health circumstances. He's self-identified that he needs help. I've no doubt that includes getting some mental health advice about the circumstance that he now finds himself in. And ultimately, those are decisions for him because what we want is parliamentarians, no matter what your political persuasion, who are in the best position to represent their communities and uphold the standards that the public expects.
The truth is you need him for numbers, right?
Well, we have a one-seat majority government. Nobody's trying to pretend otherwise. But what we actually want is there are people involved in this, and we have to make sure that they are well-balanced individuals who are able to fulfil their public duties, even if they aren't in the party. I extend the same attitude towards members of the Labor Party when people get ill or unwell or need assistance. My view has always been that we should support those people because they're humans as well as doing their public roles.
Alcohol limits and drug tests. Would you be for that?
Well, I mean, personally, I don't much mind about drug tests, but I don't know what the details of what people are proposing are. The reality is most members of Parliament have long days in Parliament House, and there are times where people have dinner, for instance, in the building in a way that isn't normally replicated in other work environments. So if people are going to go for a 0-0 approach, I think that's going to be very difficult. But I think there should be an expectation that people are conducting themselves in a professional way.
Well, I mean, you may also go out to dinner and have a glass of wine there, right, and then come back to Parliament House, and if you blow over, you'd fail.
Well, there are many things that are done in Parliament because people are away from their home for families for long periods of time. It's about the standard that people hold themselves to, I think, in terms of doing their public role that is most critical. And one of the challenges we all face is that there's no beginning or end of parliamentary life. It consumes every part of your life at all times. When you go to a community function, as I did on the weekend to the BlackRock Sports Club fundraiser, and I had a beer. I think that's entirely acceptable with fulfilling my public duties because you mesh your public and your private life.
Sure. OK, just on to Paul Keating, Tim. He has again claimed a rise in super is the only way to adequately afford retirement. What's your view on that?
Well, Paul Keating's arguments are intellectually fraudulent. We know clearly that the biggest leading indicator of poverty in retirement is whether or not you own your own home. And what Paul Keating wants to do is have more young Australians' money taken away from them, locked away in super for 50 years to directly undermine them realising their aspiration to own their own home. Every dollar locked in super makes it harder for young Australians to be able to buy their own home. That's why his plan of super over homes is wrong. It should be home first, super second.
He makes the point, though, that since 2013, there's been a 10% increase in labour productivity, but none of that went to wages. I mean, that's true, isn't it? Because wage growth has been so small.
And it has been a difficult time for wage growth, but His solution then is to take more money away from wages. That doesn't make any sense. The reality is it does have a direct impact. Increasing super does have a direct impact on the aspirations of those young Australians that want to be able to buy their home, to take their money and lock away for 50 years. And so if he wants to see young Australians being able to own their home so they can then go on and save for their retirement, the solution isn't to take more of their money. That's why it should be home first, super second.
Okay, Tim Wilson, good to talk. Chat to you soon.
Thanks, Peter.